Welcome, enlightened ones. Let's elevate. You know what's wild? Nobody really prepares you for the moment when you look around your life and realize there's no one there to call. Not because you're unlovable, not because you failed, but because somewhere along the way, you outgrew rooms that couldn't hold you anymore. And at first, you don't call it growth. You call it loneliness. You scroll. You distract yourself. You wonder if something is wrong with you. Because society taught you that having no friends means something must be broken. But let me tell you what having no friends taught me. It taught me the difference between being alone and being unsupported. It taught me that proximity is not connection. It taught me that just because people are laughing with you doesn't mean they are standing with you. And most importantly, it taught me how powerful I actually am when no one is watching. There's a kind of silence that only comes when the noise leaves your life. No opinions bouncing off your thoughts. No energy pulling you in directions you don't recognize anymore. No pressure to perform a version of yourself that keeps other people comfortable. Just you. And that silence will scare you at first. Because it forces you to hear yourself clearly. Your doubts get louder. Your insecurities stop hiding behind conversations. Your old coping habits don't work the same anymore. There's no one to text to avoid your own feelings. And that's when the real lessons begin. Having no friends taught me how often I used people to avoid sitting with myself. I didn't realize how many connections were built on distraction instead of alignment. We weren't together because we understood each other. We were together because we were running from the same things, same wounds, same habits, same unspoken pain. And when you start healing, those bonds don't stretch with you. They snap, not because anyone is evil, not because you're superior, but because healed people move differently. You stop oversharing with people who minimize you. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop chasing validation from people who never really saw you anyway. And suddenly, the room empties. That's when you learn something crucial. Most friendships don't end with a conversation. They end with awareness. You just wake up one day and realize you're tired of shrinking. You're tired of being the listener while your own needs sit untouched. You're tired of being the strong one who never gets held. You're tired of pretending you're okay, so no one has to change. Having no friends taught me how often I abandoned myself just to avoid being alone. I stayed in conversations that drained me. I laughed at jokes that crossed my boundaries. I tolerated disrespect disguised as humor. Because being chosen by others felt safer than choosing myself. But isolation has a way of stripping away illusions. When no one is clapping, you discover why you're really doing what you're doing. When no one is validating you, you learn whether you believe in yourself or not. When no one is around to distract you, your inner world becomes impossible to ignore. And listen to me carefully. This phase is not a punishment. It is a refinement. It is life pulling you aside and saying, "You're ready for something deeper." Most people never make it here. They stay surrounded but unseen. They stay connected but unsupported. They stay busy but unfulfilled. You, on the other hand, were removed from the noise because your spirit needed room to breathe. And I know. It doesn't feel poetic at first. It feels like rejection. You replay conversations. You wonder why nobody checked on you. You question whether you mattered as much as you thought. That hurt is real. But what comes after that hurt is clarity. You start seeing patterns you ignored before. You notice who only reached out when they needed something. You notice who vanished when you stopped overgiving. You notice how often you were the emotional container for everyone else's chaos. And something shifts. You stop craving company that costs you your peace. You stop romanticizing connections that never nourished you. You stop confusing history with loyalty. Having no friends taught me how strong my intuition actually is when it's not drowned out by other people's voices. I started trusting myself again, trusting my timing, trusting my instincts, trusting my emotions instead of gaslighting them away. I learned how to sit with discomfort without needing to escape it. I learned how to celebrate myself without needing witnesses. I learned how to make decisions without polling the room first. And let me tell you something most people won't admit. A lot of friendships survive only because one person keeps carrying the emotional weight. When you stop carrying, the relationship collapses. That doesn't make you cold. It makes you awake. Solitude teaches you discernment. You stop letting everyone have access to you. You stop explaining your boundaries. You stop negotiating your worth. Because when you've had no one, you learn how sacred your energy really is. You learn that not everyone deserves front row seats to your life. You learn that being selective is not arrogance, it's self-respect. And here's the part nobody talks about enough. When you've been alone long enough, you stop being impressed by surface-level connections. Small talk starts feeling heavy. Drama feels loud. Inconsistency feels intolerable. You don't want quantity anymore. You want resonance. You want depth. You want honesty. You want presence. And until that arrives, you're okay with your own company. That's power. That's emotional independence. That's not loneliness. That's sovereignty. Having no friends taught me how much of my identity was wrapped around being needed. I thought being valuable meant being useful, being available, being agreeable, being the one who always shows up. But when no one needed me anymore, I had to ask myself a hard question. Who am I when I'm not performing? Who am I when I'm not fixing? Who am I when I'm not the strong one? And the answer didn't come overnight. It came through quiet mornings, through uncomfortable evenings, through tears no one witnessed. It came through rebuilding a relationship with myself from the ground up. I learned how to listen to my own needs without judging them. I learned how to rest without guilt. I learned how to say no without explaining. I learned how to sit with myself and not feel like I needed to escape. And that's when everything changed. Because when you enjoy your own presence, you stop tolerating people who don't. You stop chasing friendships that require you to dim your light. You stop begging for inclusion in spaces that don't honor you. You stop confusing attention with connection. You start choosing quality over familiarity. And yes, the path can feel lonely, but it's only lonely if you believe your worth is measured by how many people surround you. Some seasons are meant for crowd building, others are meant for soul building. This is the latter. This is the season where you become someone who doesn't need to be chosen because you've already chosen yourself. This is where you build standards instead of settling. This is where you learn how to be still without feeling empty. This is where you stop waiting for someone else to validate what you already know deep inside. Having no friends taught me that the right people don't find you until you stop accepting the wrong ones. And when they do arrive, you'll recognize them immediately. Not by how exciting they are, not by how available they are, but by how safe you feel being yourself. No performing, no shrinking, no over-explaining, just alignment. So if you're in that season right now where your phone is quiet and your circle is small or non-existent, don't rush to fill the space. Let it shape you. Let it teach you what you will no longer tolerate. Let it show you how powerful you are without an audience. Because the version of you being forged in this solitude is the version that will never beg again, never overgive again, never abandon themselves again just to avoid being alone. And when your life fills back up, because it won't be with just anyone. It will be with people who meet you where you are, people who respect your boundaries, people who don't drain you, people who don't need you to disappear so they can feel comfortable. Until then, honor this chapter. It's doing more for you than you realize. It's not empty, it's intentional, it's not rejection, it's redirection.